Speaker rules and reigns the state of Massachusetts, just like a king. Senate President rules and reigns over Massachusetts, just like a queen.
State Auditor Diana DiZoglio is fighting for transparency on Beacon Hill. The feedback has been mixed.
She has no idea what happens in the Senate.
I support the audit. I voted for the audit. It should happen.
Now, the Methuen Democrat wants a second term. And if you ask the former state senator and representative, there is still work to do.
This is not just about an audit anymore. This behavior is permeating state government.
This morning, DiZoglio goes on the record about the legislative audit, public records push, and her re-election bid.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Beacon Hill to Capitol Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, February 22nd. Welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding.
I'm Charmin Sacchetti, and joining us at the table is State Auditor Diana DiZoglio. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's start with the voter-approved legislative audit. House Speaker Ron Mariano, he says this is a separation of powers issue. The Senate President agrees. She also says the Senate already conducts annual independent audits by non-political public accountants, posts financial details, and publishes votes online. What specifically are you looking for in an audit of the legislature?
We're just looking to follow the law that 72% of the voters in the state voted for in the last election cycle. They mandated that my office conduct an audit of the state legislature. We conduct audits of all these other state entities. They wanted to make sure their legislature was subject to the same outside scrutiny as well. Respectfully to Mr. Speaker and Madam President, who I used to serve with in the state legislature, I would remind them that the legislature conducts post-audit and oversight hearings of executive branch agencies. In fact, they are conducting audit and oversight hearings right now of the Department of Transportation. We know about some of the contracts that have been under scrutiny recently, and those things have been very public. They wanted to provide some oversight.
What are you looking for specifically to know?
Well, we've been clear, and I just want to finish my train of thought with that, Charmin, and then I will answer your question. With respect to the legislative audit and oversight hearings, they're auditing the executive branch agencies, but then they're saying that no other branch of government can provide any oversight back. So they're basically saying an audit for thee, but not for me. We have a system of checks and balances for a reason. So we hear a lot about supposed separation of powers. I would argue checks and balances are what people are looking for right now in government. With respect to what I would like to audit, I've been very clear about what I would like to audit many, many times over and over again to the state's Attorney General. I've stated that we are looking for financial receipts and state contracts. You will hear it alleged that we have not laid out the scope of our audit. We have, in fact, and indeed laid out a very clear scope. We have said settlement agreements, those are contracts, right? We want to see state contracts that might have gone out to private vendors using taxpayer money. These are things that we audit in most other state entities, but the legislature is trying to claim that that's something that's just a power of the legislature. That's not a power of the legislature. We're not going in seeking to vote in the legislature. I already did that for 10 years. I'm not interested in going back. We just want to be able to read and review how they're spending our tax dollars right now. That's the scope of this audit, and tell the taxpayers.
So let's just drill down a bit. You're now filing a lawsuit with the state's highest court over the audit. The Attorney General, Andrea Campbell's office, has filed a motion to strike that lawsuit. So it's a back and forth legal battle, stating that you do not have the authority under current law to bring a suit. Do you really have the authority? Do you think you have the authority to do this?
So the law is actually clear. I agree with the Attorney General that the law is clear that the Attorney General is supposed to be the one who approves lawsuits by state agencies. This is a big problem right now, however, because what is one to do when the Attorney General refuses to make a decision forever into eternity? It's been over a year now that we've been asking the Attorney General and pleading with her to at least let us have our own attorney represent us, and we have secured our own representation, willing to provide representation to our office at no cost to the taxpayer, doing pro bono work, and that is Attorney Shannon Liss-Riordan. She's offered to represent our case. She thinks we have a good case. She thinks this audit law should be fulfilled and should be done, but unfortunately, the AG is opposing.
She's a campaign donor of yours. Why ask her? Why not have someone completely independent?
Yeah, we actually have brought multiple.
And she also ran against Attorney General Andrea Campbell.
We've also gone to Attorney General Campbell's office with multiple other attorneys, but the Attorney General won't let any of them represent us. So this is actually a last-ditch effort, and we're trying to get representation at no cost to the taxpayer. So, we have to go with who's provided to us. And Attorney General Campbell could at any point say that she wants to go ago with a previous attorney that we presented to her. We presented her with multiple options. But the fact of the matter is, Charmin, she doesn't want us to have any representation or any access to court. This is a blatant attempt to block our access to court so that this audit never gets conducted. And I've already said, Ed, that the Attorney General has gotten a 12% increase to her budget, and she is the one who is not enforcing this law right now. It's her responsibility to enforce this law. I can't think of a better example of a quid pro quo than a 12% budget increase while you're blocking a voter-approved mandate to audit the legislature. It's unacceptable.
What legal grounds do you want to walk through the door?
So we're basically using the legal grounds that we looked at with Iowa's state auditor, Rob Sand. So Rob Sand, the state auditor for Iowa, went to his high court and said, look, his attorney general was not allowing him to access the court. He understood that he had to follow the same laws we do. But he was saying, look, if the attorney general is not going to allow me access to the court, that's obstruction. And we simply want our day in court to be able to make our case. We have a right to an impartial hearing. That's the same thing that we're saying here. We're saying, look, Attorney General Campbell, you clearly don't want to represent the people or our office in this case. So all we're saying is, please just step aside and just let us get access to the justice system so that justice can be served to the taxpayers of this Commonwealth and they can get the audit they voted for.
We've seen a lot of Republicans rally behind this push to audit the legislature. One of them, who's running for governor, Mike Minogue, offered to cover your legal bills in this. Why not take him up on his offer?
We actually did try to take him up on his offer. We were very grateful that attorney George Vienne, a very renowned attorney in Massachusetts, had offered to take this case. But unfortunately, just with the back and forth with the AG's office continuing to state that they didn't like the fact that an outside entity was paying for this, even though we cleared it through the Ethics Commission, with the AG starting to focus on that payment rather than on the underlying case, which was the most important thing, we did decide to just say, look, we have another attorney, Shannon Liss-Reardon, who's offering to represent us without accepting payments and without charging our office, and that seems like the cleaner path forward to get to court.
Governor Healey has said she supports the audit, that she voted for it. Do you think she's been vocal enough?
I've asked the governor to come out more strongly on this, and I do appreciate that the governor did say that she voted for this. I did have a conversation with her, I think over a year ago at this point now, where I did repeatedly ask for her to come out more strongly, to call on the Attorney General to enforce this law, knowing that she herself used to be the Attorney General and she knows the law. But unfortunately, we didn't see that strong support that we were hoping for. I do hope that the governor does come out more strongly in the coming months. We could certainly use all the help we can get.
You said a year ago. When was the last time you heard from her on this? Or you spoke about this?
My last phone call that I received from the governor was over a year ago at this point. I think I made a joke about it at the St. Patty's Day breakfast. I was still waiting for a call. I'm still waiting.
Here's the truth, and I'm not making this up, and it's not scientific, but of the communications that we have from you, the voters here, that we have in our newsroom, the most prominent question is, we voted for the audit, where's the audit? That's the most prominent question we get.
That's the question that I get too, Ed, and people are very upset about this. They're very angry about this. Look, I myself, I'm not really personally upset with the legislators that I know, who I know are working hard on other issues for their communities. I am disappointed. I think that this was an opportunity for us, especially as Democratic leaders in this state, to lead on transparency. I am the youngest serving Democratic constitutional officer in the state of Massachusetts. Our party very much supports transparency, accountability, and accessibility. But right now we have a handful of leaders up on Beacon Hill who are not just standing on the wayside with this, but are adamantly opposing this. And it is unfortunately undermining our efforts to uphold democracy right now, and it is in fact doing the opposite. It's undermining democracy, and that's not okay.
We are on the record with Diana DiZoglio this morning. Stay with us.